All right, so who am I here with today?
𝗍𝗿𝗺, CEO of 𝗍𝗂𝗄𝗃 Therapeutics.
𝗍𝗂𝗄𝗃 Therapeutics. So tell me about that. What do you guys do there?
We're treating fungi. In the world, there's 6 million fungal infections, 3 million deaths. We're focused on one disease first that we know we're particularly effective at and expanding that to others, looking at a market that impacts tens of thousands of lives.
And so what disease are you starting with?
We're starting with a disease called 𝗍𝗿𝗺 fever that's named for the Central Valley of California where I grew up. It's a terrible disease. A mild case lasts for 4 months and you feel terrible. A lot of people have lingering impacts. 2,000 people a year get severe disease, 150 die.
Really? And why do you think this hasn't been addressed before?
There are drugs that are available. The drugs just aren't good enough. So our drug has been around for a long time. We've figured out a better way of using it so that it eradicates the disease. It's amazing.
So you're using the same drug, but you're using it in a different way. What differentiates your approach? Is it injection? Is it what differentiates you?
It's how we give it. So it turns out the drug doesn't last in the body very long, and so we figured out ways of making it persist. So right now, people take drugs for years. We expect to shorten that to months.
Wow.
If you're taking a drug for months, an oral pill a day is okay.
Yeah, but for years, you have trouble with compliance, fall off, they don't do it a couple days, and then they just stop.
Oh, no, for years, the current drugs, they're typically oral. One of the favorite drugs is that you go in for a daily infusion, which means you're sitting with a needle in your arm for an hour and a half every day.
So we're not talking about just pills for a year. They're having to go in every single day to get an injection?
That's the current therapy, and it's worse. The first drug that was used is still used for severe cases. They stick a needle in your brain and put the drug into your brain.
I mean, the alternative.
The guaranteed alternative is death. You will die if you do not treat this.
Wow.
If you have it in the brain.
This is pretty serious disease.
Very serious. Yeah.
How did you decide to pursue this with your company, this specific disease?
So my father was a physician in the area. He grew up in the area, and he was treating people that had this disease. One of his friends ran the trials for amphotericin, sticking needles in people's brains, and they still do that. I know the people that do that. They're personal friends.
Interesting. And so then you saw an opportunity, and you kind of knew this world a little bit, and you took the leap, and you said, this is what I'm going to base my company on.
Well, I did some chemistry, so I'm a graduate of Caltech, and then I did some research projects and invented 2 drugs before I turned 30.
Really? That's impressive.
One of which is the shell of the COVID vaccine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. That's huge. You get residuals on that?
No, I get even no credit for it, but that's okay.
Hey, such is life.
Because I became a lawyer and did semiconductors for 20 years.
Ooh, now that's huge. Yeah. Semiconductors. Okay. All right. So you have a very diverse background.
I do.
Yeah. What really ultimately made you settle on this specific company, this specific, and it sounds like it's more of a delivery system. Is that what?
It's a chemically thoughtful approach.
Okay.
It's not that hard to do, but I figured out that it might work. It's very expensive to make what they call first article.
Yeah.
So it's $1 million experiment to see whether it works at all. So nobody was doing it.
Right.
So as an experienced chemist, I said, maybe we can get some information a different way. It proved to be 30 times more effective.
Really?
And when we go one more step, we think it'll be still better.
Okay. All right. Very cool. So shifting gears a little bit, we're here at BLPN, and you're part of the Moneyball program. Tell me a little bit about that and that experience for you.
Well, Moneyball's been great. So I grew up in Silicon Valley. There's a company called 𝗵𝗿𝗺 children's toys.
Yeah.
I worked with the guy that founded it before he started the company, and we were taking interesting companies and teaching them how to present. Yeah. So I used to teach how to do this. There's something called Lean Launchpad and 𝗍𝗁. In my business school, I took the class from Steve Blank.
Yep.
And one of my friends co-founded Lean Launchpad.
Wow.
It's all well and good to know what you're supposed to do, but doing it effectively is another story. Yeah. So I've been doing my business presentations for years and not making much progress. I came in here and the group said, that's not working. Now you're deep in the geeky science. You're just not communicating. You're not connecting. Yeah. Try this. No, try this. Okay, that's good. You're following that. Now try it differently. Okay, try it over here. And when we're settled into a path that they say that I'm savable.
Oh, okay. You're savable. So honestly, that must be tremendously difficult. You know, being a seasoned veteran, you've been doing presentations for decades, and then to come in and must have a lot of self-awareness and control to be able to say, okay, what can I do to be better? What can I do to really capture the attention of the investors? How's that struggle been?
So the transition of like taking a new angle is actually not a problem at all.
Yeah.
I do theater. I'm a singer.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So you give me a new script. Okay, fine. Okay. Oh, I'm the bad guy. Now I'm the good guy. That's fine. I'll just play whichever role I get.
Yeah.
So telling a story is not a problem for me.
Yeah.
My problem was telling a story that was going to be effective.
Yes.
And that's where this group has a lot of experience of seeing what stories connect with investors.
Yeah.
And say, okay, if you say this, it'll be more effective. If you change this word, it'll be helpful. So we got into the fine tuning fairly quickly.
And I think you probably, fairly quickly is exactly what I was going to say. You probably picked it up very quickly because of your experience, because of, doing singing and acting. You really put that all together and you're able to adapt.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So when you look back at when you started with Moneyball to where you are now with the presentation, do you feel you've gained a lot from the process?
Tremendously.
And what's next? Clearly you're seeking funding at this stage?
Absolutely. So this is an extension of something I've been trying to do for a long time. What we basically did was we took my long-term plan and put it on top. This long-term plan is to get into these big markets. Now we're starting with these big markets.
Okay. And so what's the amount you're looking to raise right now? Is this Series A?
12 million, Series A,
Yep.
will get us what's called phase 2A human data.
Okay.
Because we've already shown that it's safe in humans with phase 1.
Yeah.
And we've shown efficacy in animals. We know a lot about the drug, how it's given, how it's likely to be tested and test well.
Yeah.
So we expect to have very little problem having phase 2A reporting in 2 years and probably a year and a half.
Very cool. So it's moving rapidly.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, congrats on that.
Thanks.
So back to BLPN as a
Yes.
whole.
Yes.
What's your experience been like with the club?
It's been great. It's been great. I've been part of. So I finished my PhD 2 years ago.
Okay.
I started.
Cool.
I started a very
love
long
that.
time ago. Did
Yeah.
the COVID vaccine thing,
Yep.
the 𝗍𝗿𝗍𝗿𝗺 and then did my semiconductors. I've been doing my drug stuff, and then I had some time, no grant support. So I said, maybe it's time to finish my PhD.
Yeah.
And so I finished that in 2 years ago, and
Congrats.
started looking for what do I do next. And I said, okay, it's time to really dig in and make this company happen more effectively. So I've engaged in. This is my fourth group that I've engaged with. Like, we'll help you write better resumes, we'll help you connect, we'll help you tell your story better, and this is by far the best.
Yeah. What makes it the best out of the others? What differentiates it?
It might be that I'm more receptive. It might be the way the coaches come together, get immediate feedback. There's a fairly frequent meetings. There's basically 2 meetings a week
That's
for
long.
primary meetings plus coaching meetings. And so on the call, there's rarely less than 50 people.
Wow.
And the weekly bullpen calls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those. Yes. Yeah.
And so, often more. And so someone will say, David, I want to tell me more about this. So I got a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
There were enough people paying attention, and I was connecting imperfectly well enough that I was getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And that went from needs work to looking better. Oh, that's very good. So
Yeah.
the rapid feedback is good.
That's cool. Okay. All right. Last question then. Can you give some advice to young entrepreneurs, maybe someone who has waited around to get their PhD, they didn't complete it, maybe they're a little on the older side. What advice do you have?
Boy, that's a tough one. There's lots and lots of people. There's incubators. There's Y Combinator. I live in Silicon Valley. There's all kinds of stuff there. I spent a lot of time in Arizona. There's a lot of groups there. We're here in San Diego. There's a group called Connect that I've been aware of for a very long time. So I'd say go to meetings, find out what's going on, look for people that are doing things. I had a very informational meeting at one time at UC San Francisco, and there were 4 people they were sort of entrepreneurial people. One was representing small funds, one was a VC, one was an entrepreneur, and I forget what the 4th one was. And a comment was made that a lot of times the science person is not the best CEO. Sometimes they are, but they're often not. And it's perfectly fine to join a company, get your idea organized, do the usual scientific proof of concept, find somebody who's done it before, because that makes it so much faster, because they know the doors to open and people will take their calls. You're a new person, it's harder to get them to take your call. And be the chief science officer, be the chief technology officer of your first company. Learn from that. When you come back when you're doing your second company, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
By the time you get to your 4th company, people love you.
Yeah, very good. Great advice. Well, thank you, David.
We're excited. We're saving lives. We're going to do it quickly. We think we can expand. We think we have the opportunity to establish a new antifungal therapeutic empire.
Yeah, beautiful. I want to watch it.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks, David. Who am I here with today?
Amy Patel from Boyd's Consultants.
From Boyd's Consultants. So tell me a little bit about that. What do you guys do there?
We are a drug development consultancy, and we work with hospital institutions, academic institutions, startups and spin-outs, and small and large pharma and biotechs, everything from early non-clinical development through to clinical development and global regulatory strategies and operations and approval. And we have our own clinical operations and medical affairs team and end-to-end drug development capabilities in-house.
Wow.
And we've been around for 21 years, and we really are proud of having worked on 14 of the approved cell and gene therapies.
Really?
Yes.
That's very cool. What's your most proud accomplishment within the company or for the company?
Well, I'm part of the product development team at 𝗍𝗿𝗺, and I also work with business development team. And as part of the product development team, so I'm a product development scientist by training. I did my PhD in pharmaceutical sciences. And as part of what I really enjoy doing is product development. And as part of the product development team, I get to work with investors and companies to do due diligence on assets that they're acquiring. And that has been one of the most fun and challenging and new things that I get to do at 𝗍𝗿𝗺 that I have enjoyed the most.
That's phenomenal. So it's a job that most people, you don't go to school to become a product developer. So how did that happen? How did you fall into that?
Well, it goes back when I was a kid, but my mom had cancer growing up, and I always used to say that, and she had very long hair and she lost all her hair. So I always used to say, oh, I'm going to make a medicine that doesn't make your hair fall out. And so back of my mind, I think I was always guided by that as an ambition, and I always enjoyed science, and I did well in science in terms of academic requirements. And when I joined the pharmaceutical industry, I found my passion in research, but more than just being a lab bench scientist, where I really enjoyed and excelled is when I had the ability to have external conversations where what are the problems with drug development and what are the solutions that we have at hand and how can we overcome those hurdles and develop an idea or a molecule and turn it into a medicine that patients can take. And so I was guided by a childhood dream, but with a love and passion for science and the right opportunities and right mentors, I ended up in drug development and in the intersection of business, which is what I love the most.
Very cool. You're very well rounded.
Thank you.
So you touched a little bit on persistence and resilience, and we call it research for a reason. Mm-hmm. What is it that keeps you going? What gets you motivated and gets you out of bed every day now?
Exactly that. I have the luxury, and honestly, it's been eye-opening that when you're out and about listening to patients at some of these conferences, you see and hear the stories of the patients and what the parents or the children and the families go through that are suffering from some of these diseases. That gives you the drive and the ambition that I'm not just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm making a difference. I may not have discovered the most innovative drug out there, but I am doing my part, lending my expertise, and moving the needle to get that medicine to the patient slightly faster and a high quality medicine. And that's what gets me out of bed, and that's my North Star.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So we're here at 𝗍𝗿𝗺 at the Field of Dreams, and
Love
you
it.
sponsored. You guys sponsored this event. What does that mean to you? What is the Field of Dreams?
From a personal perspective, it converges from the fact that, an immigrant from India with limited resources had the ability and the opportunities at different times, and the mentors and the believers that took a chance on me, and how all of that came together, where I can now say that, and for me, like many of us here, when we're all done with this, I would like to look back and say, all right, I contributed to ABC and made a difference, and even if one person's life or one patient's life, that's Field of Dreams for me personally. And I think that's exactly what 𝗍𝗿𝗺 is doing, right? It's bringing together all of these people where they have their little dreams, and the resources, I think the connectivity, building a community that helps each other, lifts each other, and doesn't let that dream die. I think Christian may have built something, from his own frustrations, but I think that it's saving the rest of us, from some similar frustrations, and hopefully the community comes together to make all of our field of dreams come true.
Yes, that's very well said.
Thank you.
So, looking back to a younger self, 12 or 13, and the world's your oyster. The sky's the limit, but you're an immigrant. You're afraid of what might come. What would you say to her?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid of titles. Everybody is a human being, and most people are willing to have decent conversations and provide guidance. And don't shy away from seeking that guidance. And that's what I would say.
Very good.
Yeah.
And the last thing, so you touched on mentorship. Mm-hmm. How important has mentorship been in your journey for you to get to where you are?
Oh, my career took a complete different trajectory because of somebody who took a chance on me. My very first role as I was finishing my PhD was with the preclinical CRO, and it's been bought over since. But the chief operating officer back then, 𝗍𝗵𝗱𝗺𝗺, he gave me an opportunity and took a chance, knowing that I don't have experience with that role, and gave me roles and responsibilities that I hadn't earned yet. And just in the sense that it was a sink or swim situation, and I worked hard, and I think that there was a lot of guidance and a lot of freedom to operate also, but that meant a lot to me in the sense that how it has shaped my career. And from then, I do seek out guidance from executives and friends and true supporters that I feel are positive, that has shaped the way I think, the way I believe in myself, and the way I move forward in this industry.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was great. So who am I here with?
Hi, my name is Zach Brooks from 𝗍𝗍𝗄.
𝗍𝗍𝗄.
Yes.
What do we do at 𝗍𝗍𝗄?
Well, we make genomic medicine personal and accessible for everyone. So through our genomic tools, easy to use, drag and drop bioinformatics files, and then within 25 minutes get some real world solutions that you can help with in the clinical lab, or maybe a person who's trying to figure out more about their body.
Okay, very interesting. So bioinformatics, tell me, elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure. So bioinformatics is basically a combination of biology and computation related. So you try to render biological data into data, analyze that data, hopefully quickly at more depth, and then go back and say, now we have a potential solution for biology we wouldn't have otherwise at greater depth, and hopefully with greater speed. Okay. So that's basically bioinformatics.
Yeah, breaking it down. So that's pretty complex. What's your background? How'd you get into this?
Well, my background is pretty complex as well. So this is my 5th startup company. I've also run a nonprofit. So the 2 first early Silicon Valley companies I was part of, one was cryptography, one was finance. The last 3 companies have been in different technologies, so radiopharmaceuticals, Raman spectroscopy, and now bioinformatics. The nonprofit's more about organ transplantation and so forth. So I've been around biotech and biology for a long time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What was that your passion as a kid, or how did you find your way into biology?
Yeah, good question. So I found it through being a patient. So in 1998, I was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder that led to my kidneys failing. And then I had a kidney transplant. So when you become a patient in that world, you have to, or it's good to become an expert in biology in your certainly treatment and diagnoses and so forth. And so it came not naturally, but became through this event. I got a second transplant because of an adverse drug reaction.
Oh, wow.
And so what we focus on in 𝗍𝗍𝗄 are actually 2 of those things. So rare disease and adverse drug reaction. So to me, I feel incredibly grateful that all these wonderful people in the 20th century who ultimately saved my life allowed me to be in this position so our company can do the same thing and then save other people's lives. So that usually what I envision is that in 2075, there'll be someone alive and say, if it weren't for people 50 years ago, I wouldn't be alive as a grandfather, a grandmother, someone today. So I'm very passionate about making sure what we do has great impact on someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's full circle.
Yeah,
right
full
there.
circle. Absolutely.
And I hope in 2075 when they look back and they're saying it about Eugenum.
Well, or just they say something that people 50 years ago
Yeah.
did some things, so because we're really part of this human parade. I mean, we're all alive because individual decisions that people made on our behalf a long time ago, and so we're doing our best right now for the next group of people as well, and enjoying San Diego on this day.
Yes. So speaking of San Diego and speaking of making an impact, we're here at BLPN.
Yes.
You've been a member for some time now.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, so I'm a founding member of BLPN as of April 2024, so a little bit over 2 years. And the main thing about BLPN is find someone to help and repeat. That's the motto. Find someone to help and repeat. Find someone to help and repeat. And so what I really like about that is that it really sets up a relationship in the club. So we all really there to help each other. Through that, we want to do transactions, but it's that opposed to transaction first, which can be maybe great, or maybe it just goes nowhere. But here we really have a lot of passion and what's the word I'm looking for, but certainly passion for each other.
Yeah.
We want each other to succeed as members of BLPN.
And how did you find BLPN?
Actually, here in San Diego, a couple of years ago, our company was a finalist for an accelerator. We didn't get in, but that same week, I think within 2 days, or maybe even like 24 hours, 3 trusted people I knew talked about BLPN. And so I got into a free call. They had a founding membership kind of level, and I said, this is a really good group, 3 people I trusted. But I like the vibe and energy that I still feel. Now, hopefully I get to share with new people coming in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a story where you embodied or someone embodied the mantra to you.
Well, it's a great question. If I can find one story. So last year around this time, kind of June through August, we signed around 20 what I'm calling referral partnerships. Groups kind of like ours, small companies who want to complement each other because together we can do more on behalf of someone who get a better treatment option. Of those 20 referral partnerships, 10 were from BLPN members. It's hard to target which one is the key one out of that. But meeting you, meeting 25 people who are downstairs right now, we still have these relationships and still trying to find a way forward. I guess I'll highlight one we're still finding a project with, which is called US Lab Partners. 𝗍𝗵𝗍 is the woman's name who runs it, and she's fantastically excited and happy and helpful. And she's tried to do multiple things for us and try to get us into events for low cost so we can promote ourselves to her group of people. So I'll just kind of mention 𝗍𝗵𝗍 from US Lab Partners.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's great.
We love you.
Yeah, hi 𝗍𝗵𝗍, we like you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So last question for you.
Yeah.
If you were one piece of laboratory equipment,
Ooh.
what would you be and why?
Oh, this is a great question. So the thing that comes to mind is back in the late 90s, I was watching this public station show. I think it was in Denver, Colorado, or maybe it's in the Bay Area. And they asked the person, if you only had one application, what application would you use? And they went back and forth, but the answer I liked the most was someone saying, I'd be an Excel spreadsheet because I can write Word documents there, I can calculate things, I can put graphics in there. So at that moment in time, that was a pretty cool answer.
Yeah.
One piece of lab equipment, oh goodness, that is a great question. I have to say sequencing related, that's what we're into, because it's the raw data production, curation, and so forth that sets up what we're doing for success, because we can only work from good sequenced data. So probably a good piece of sequencing equipment.
Good piece.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular one in mind?
I don't know, nanopore, it's pretty good.
Ooh.
I mean,
I
those
like that because I think that embodies you as well.
Yes.
So it's a unique, flexible, powerful.
Yes.
Underestimated.
Underestimated so far.
So far, but it's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think nanopore, there's a lot of great groups out there,
Yeah.
so I can't really say that's better than the others, but I think it's good for a certain market.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the world we're in. There's a lot of good solutions for the world, but which solution is good for that group of people?
Yeah.
And that's personalized medicine in the end. Targeted, very specific things for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you, Zach.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm with Vida from Leader Bank. Tell me about Leader Bank. What is it that you guys do in the space?
Well, Leader Bank is a private bank based on Boston, Massachusetts, backed by Fidelity Investment. We entered the innovation and startup banking 4 years ago. We're growing crazy. We hired people from SVB, FRB, Signature Bank to bring the culture and to bring the innovation ideas to the bank. And we have been very successful. We are growing crazy. And I'm part of Leader Bank about 8 months ago, and I cannot be happier. It's a great, great choice. It was a great choice.
People think of banks as, you get loans, you get investments. What to you, what does a bank mean in the ecosystem of the biotech world?
Well, I guess the bank means they have to understand the process of the biotech because it's very different than any other field. So it takes longer. Raising funds specifically the recent year has been very challenging. The bank has to have understanding. The bank has to have the tools to help them. We are building these tools. Yeah. We're trying to build that. We have to make sure if we don't have those tools 100% in place at this point, we have the ability to connect them with the right resources.
Right.
That's what we are doing at this time. And hopefully in the coming years, we are able to exactly do what we need to do.
Yeah.
We're working on.
Yeah, it's very cool. So what's your role at the bank?
My role, it's so interesting. I started as the director of innovation and startup banking, and I guess because I did a great job, and I put my advocacy and passion into that job. I was promoted recently as the head of innovation startup at the West Coast Banking.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm really proud of this. And that's what I love about Leader Bank, because if the management cares about employee, that means they care about people.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we need.
And it's exactly what we need. And when people think banks, they don't think of passion. They don't think of care. They think of money. They think of cold, hard cash. And that's not the case, right? So what is your passion? What drives you every day and gets you out of bed to come to this job?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, what people think about banking in most of the time is true. And the reason why it's true, because a lot of banks, they really care about you when you have a lot of zeros in front of your, but there are banks that they put, what gets me going is really building relationships, understanding the needs and being an advocate. That's what you need to be when you're in banking. Do I have to be an expert in biotech life science in order to be able to help my client? Obviously, knowledge is the key. Mm-hmm. So, and my background is engineering, but I have learned so much from the past 2 and 3 years interaction with the biotech. But my passion is just be an advocate and help people to succeed.
Yeah. What was your journey to get to this point? What's your background?
My background is when I actually worked as an engineer. I'm trained by structural engineering and city planning, and worked in Germany for many years. For government. Yep. And then for personal reason, I had to move to US in 2001. I ended up being in financial world. So I started with retail banking, business banking, and then the last 7.5 years, innovation and startup banking. And I was fortunate the last 2 years, I was really specifically helping biotech and life science and learn more, join organization. They are focusing on life science and biotech, and that's where I actually put my own passion, because it resonates with my own personal daily problem.
Yes, very cool. So we're here at the Field of Dreams with BLPN. You're a BLPN member, and what's that experience been like for you?
It's been amazing. Honestly, I have been a member of many organizations before. And what I experience, people are getting together, having fun, exchanging some ideas. Most of the time, they leave and go, and if you're persistent. But what I experience with BLPN is the passion that people put in there, the willingness to help each other, be there, listen, and that was fascinating. Honestly, I have not experienced before, and I tried to basically understand the culture. I tried to get more information, and once in January, then I started just being a member, because it's actually a great experience. It's been awesome.
Good. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
And last question for you. So, what advice would you have to young entrepreneurs who are looking to approach a bank for funding?
My advice is, as everything in your life, if it's your life partner, your banking partner, your co-founder, try to find a bank that really satisfies your needs. Do a lot of research. There are many banks out there. I mean, they're all not judging any bank, but what I would do, I would really research for pre-seed, seed, startups that they need really advocacy and more time to talk to a banker. I would go research and find a bank that really puts the time in place to understand. So the next step would be listening to the banker advice and following their structure, how to start, and not thinking, okay, it's just a banking. Do a lot of research and do the best to find the right bank that can be your partner for life and you can succeed.
I love it. Well, thank you, Vida.
My pleasure.
Wonderful advice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So who am I here with?
I'm 𝗠𝗍𝗁𝗆. I'm a data and AI architect at Microsoft.
Oh, very cool. At Microsoft. And
Yeah.
so you do data and AI at Microsoft, one of the leading AI companies. How did you get there? What's your background?
Yeah, it's a long story actually. So I have been in industry for more than a decade now. Originally from India, came to the US in 2019 for work. But yeah, I started my career in data pretty early, like in 2015. Someone in the US at that point of time told me, data is going to be the next big thing, like big data. Data was already, big, but big data was something that, someone told me about and it just stuck to me. And I started kind of preparing and working towards it.
Whoever that was, you need to go find them and shake their hand.
Oh, yeah.
And buy them
yeah.
dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's how I kind of started devoting all my time and effort into learning more about it, became an expert, and, that's where I have been working for the last decade or so. So started my career as a data engineer working on, big data solutions, and then gradually came into data architecting solutions, platforms, products. And now, from the past 3 to 4 years, it has been primarily AI. No one is talking about data, but data is still in the back end that everyone needs at any big company. And that's what I'm actually helping 𝗍𝗁𝗆 with as well. So
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. So you're working with 𝗍𝗁𝗆, which is a genomics bioinformatics company. What are you doing with them? Any cool projects you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a background, I got associated with 𝗍𝗁𝗆 like 3 years back, actually in 2023. Yeah, me and our founder, Zach, we were both in the same MBA program.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, we kind of, chatted a couple of times, we hit it off, and, he needed some help on technical side. We're like, yeah, absolutely. I love, kind of helping others. That has been one of my motives. So yeah, that's how the relationship kind of started, and started helping 𝗍𝗁𝗆 on efforts around understanding data. And because in genomics, like, you have tons of data.
So much.
So much of data. So yeah, how we can leverage those data, how we can understand it better, how we can utilize it better to make, the right decisions that needs to be taken. And that's what we have been doing. And now we have been building a lot of things in the AI space as well at 𝗍𝗁𝗆. So now with DNA to Health, that is our D2C product that we have, using which, anyone can order a kit and understand their, panels and, what's going up with their DNA, right? So we are building a lot of AI solutions. Right now it's not live, but yeah, we are, putting our effort into building some solutions which could be great and helpful to, a lot of users out there.
Yeah, that's very cool. So are there any specific projects or programs that you're working on with 𝗍𝗁𝗆 that you can talk about?
I mean, right now, most of the things are in progress, but yeah, we are coming up with, I know like chatbots or chat applications are really common now, but what we are building is, like AI models which are primarily trained on genomic data. And you can ask specific questions and about your DNA or gene data that you have gone through the kit and, accumulated, right? You can also bring your own data that you have already,
Cool. So
accumulated in past, and give it to our model, and it can answer like a lot of questions around different panels, I would say, different reports like, women's health, men's health.
what's an example of a question one might ask to the chatbot?
Yeah, I mean, so genomic data is really complex, right? And if you're not from the field, you can't actually understand what this data is about, right? So it's not human readable kind of format that you can. So the biggest thing is like, first thing was how to make it human readable and how to make it like more accessible to everyone. Yeah. Because you can go to different labs and companies and get order a DNA kit and get it done. But the file formats or the file types that you will receive are not, you are not going to understand them, right? Or access them. So the first approach was like how to make them, more accessible and approachable, like so that everyone can understand it in simple way. And the other part is like, now you have the data, but how to make sense out of it, right? So what is working for you, what is not, how your body reacts to certain things, what could be kind of the impacting levers, around that, or data points which could drive certain things that you might have not thought about, right? So it could be around your health, hormones, even age, your lifestyle. So it could be like a lot of, because genes is all about your body body, and so it can answer a lot of hidden insights that you might have not known
That's pretty
previously.
cool.
So
like
yeah.
something like, what's my statistical chance of having this disease, XYZ disease?
Absolutely.
Or
Like
this is my profile. What's the chance that my kid has such and such?
yeah, absolutely. Like not just chances, it can also like certain times you get to know about certain things only when you do certain tests or go to doctors. But through genes, again, you get some probability and chances. Like what could be the possibility based on your DNA. Definitely, those kind of use cases are like really helpful, and that's what we are looking to kind of build, which is more kind of a, rather than reactive, like having more of a proactive way on how users can understand their health much better and take decisions. And pharmacogenomics is also one of the part that Ugenome focuses, is that what medicines like you should take, like what works for your body.
Here's all my medications.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on my genomic profile.
Yeah.
Because it's more than personalized medicine is more than just diagnostics now. You can look at 𝗍𝗿𝗃 enzymes. There's just so much more that goes into it.
Absolutely. Like, and it's a huge space actually. Like people still don't know what medication works for them and not. Doctors are writing prescriptions, but they don't know it will work out for the patients or not. They are, again, depending on the probability, like, okay, if it had worked with 90% of the people, it will work for you as well, but that's necessarily not true. So yeah, I mean, pharmacogenomics is a huge space that we are trying to focus on with this DNA to health, and yeah, hoping that it will be helpful to millions and millions of people out there. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much.
So who am I here with today?
Yeah, 𝗍𝗿𝗆, CEO of TACMed.
TACMed. Okay. What do you guys do there at TACMed?
We are a diagnostics platform based in the UK and the US. We've got an office in Phoenix, and we're gathering health data from everyone. So we put together this commoditized health platform. We want to get it out to every home in the land, get people testing their health, so we can eventually become more preventative.
Yep.
It's part of a modern health system.
Yes, I completely agree. So I've been a huge proponent for prognostic indicators. Diagnostics are great, but once you're diagnosing the problem, it's already there.
Exactly.
Prognostic, so monitoring the health and having an early stage before there's potentially any phenotypic readouts, can save lives, can completely change the game. So what methods are you using to measure this health data?
The science is there.
Yeah.
We're using electrochemistry to look for biomarkers in blood, urine, saliva, feces, whatever the substance is. And we could even put a patch on and use microneedles to enable continuous monitoring. But in the first instance, we're just trying to take samples, run a really rapid test of less than 2 minutes, get people to test frequently by making it cheap. People always ask me to say cost effective, not cheap. It's almost as if you say something's cheap, they think it's not good. But what we've put together is a software as a service operating model. So people are encouraged to test frequently. They're not saying, but it's going to cost me $50 a time. We're saying, look, pay $50 a month.
Yeah.
Test as often as you like.
Yeah.
And speak to your clinician, partner with them, give them access to your data, but feel good that you control your own data and your own accounts, and your kids can use it as well.
Yeah.
And everybody wants more information about their health because no one wants to get sick anymore. It's too expensive.
Yeah, it really is. And so you're taking that on and really trying to prevent the progression of the disease versus treating the disease. How did you get into this? How did you settle on that versus maybe going to the diagnostic angle?
Well, if you look at everybody, there's a certain realization that sets in as your parents get older, as you look at the people around you and you think health insurance just gets so expensive as people get older, and you're saying it's not affordable. And people haven't necessarily looked after themselves in their young years, their middle years. You want to encourage better lifestyle, better behaviors early on. So making health systems affordable is about nudging behaviors with better data. And that doesn't come from saying, hey, test twice a year. Test twice a year and do what? Test twice a week.
Yes.
Track the longitudinal data across a number of different biomarkers, and work with your nutritionist, work with your lifestyle coach, work with your GP, make health a part of living.
And when you're doing those tests, you can make slight modifications because you're seeing it versus making these dramatic changes that aren't going to stick.
Yeah.
These are, okay, we noticed you're a little low on this. We'd suggest that you do this to bring it back up. We'll continue to monitor it. We'll see the change or we won't. And then you adjust more.
Absolutely. And then when people actually go onto Instagram, they see David Beckham selling them something, take this and you'll be like me and you'll play world-class football. At least they can point to the data and say, well, maybe not. I'm not sure, but it will be money well spent as opposed to a bit of hope.
Yes, exactly. So we're here at BLPN, Field of Dreams today.
Delighted to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your experience with BLPN.
Well, I wanted to be part of BLPN. I was here at Bayer in 2024 and walking around and people were saying, we're going to BLPN, we're going to BLPN. I'm going, what's BLPN? I remember meeting with our bankers, Silicon Valley Bank, and they said, meet us up at the BLPN, we'll have a chat. And there was this wonderfully exciting environment where everybody was enthusiastic. And it's the same thing. Now I'm a part of it. There's all this enthusiasm. It's not just about money. It's about how can we help, and that means commercial partnerships, technical partnerships. It's just a pool of resource, and I love it. And I've been part of this Moneyball program and all the coaching that's been going on. The intensity of it, you feel sort of bent into shape when you come through.
So tell me, let's dive a little bit into the Moneyball program. So you entered into that weeks and months ago. And you've gone through. Well, you tell me, what's the process been like for you?
Picking your coaches. So getting into the community, being shown the potential, shown the different capabilities, skills, experience, and then putting together that team, and they find you find them, you're sort of getting picked. And that was right at the beginning. And then you get to know everybody and it challenges you. You've got to be open. You've got to be vulnerable and a
little bit of thick skin.
People are going to tell you, well, you can't, we don't like that. We do like this. And it's going to challenge even the way you define not just yourself, but your business.
That's huge. And that's
and messaging. People are going to say, well, actually, I like that message. You haven't drawn that out in your deck enough. And one of the biggest challenges being a founder is you can talk a good game, but if you don't get it down on paper, I've had so much advice on pitching on paper, writing those pitch decks. Well, when you've got a few experts in your coaching team that say, we're going to do your deck for you, we're going to really draw out those messages. What you have to say is thank you. And not be tempted to argue, go, that's not what I meant. Right. And they're going, but that's what we hear. So as founders, sometimes we've got to shut up, take some advice.
That's the biggest, I was going to ask you, what's your biggest advice for founders? And it's shut up.
Learn when to be quiet, take some advice, and let other people do some of the work for you. Because we're founders, we think we can do everything better than all the people in our team. And you have to step back and let the business develop, let other people help.
So you're raising funds.
We're raising a $20 million Series A.
Very good.
And that's going to fund our last mile, go-to-market, FDA journey, get us out there, manufacturing, everything.
That's everything, all in.
Everything, all in. And we're going to launch in the US next year.
That's exciting.
We've got a 510K pathway mapped out with the FDA, who've been wonderful. Ask all the right questions. We're going to do some clinical trials down in Arizona.
Oh, cool.
And absolutely. And we're going to get our product out into the rural health communities.
Oh, good.
Native American communities. We want to be, the whole point of TACMed is to build inclusivity, access.
Yes.
Data is no good if it's not diverse. And it has to be comprehensive. If we only have a product that's catering to the top of the pyramid, it's no use to anyone.
Exactly. I agree completely.
That's our go-to-market.
Paul, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Really
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was fun.